Right. So thank you very much. And I have had the opportunity to hear Elaine speak, although in an abbreviated one at Petaluma. So I'm very excited to hear her get to give a little bit more information tonight. Elaine is known, as she said, as Elaine the Brain, and has been the creative self-mode problem-solving entrepreneur since 2001. Elaine enjoys supporting other entrepreneurs with their business, getting shit done for them, as she said, so they can focus on their zones of genius. Her friends do call her Elaine the Brain because she gets intuitive pop rocks that help people find creative solutions to their problems. She has founded the No Excuse Network to motivate and encourage her clients to step out of their comfort zone. She also runs her own podcast, The Bitch and Brainstorm, where she provides live coaching and uplifting and motivational pep talks to guests who are feeling stuck. She's also the co-host with the Life by Design, Not Default podcast with her business bestie, Kay Page Engel. She's a legacy leader with Polka Powerhouse, a women's organization she has been a part of since 2016. She's the managing director for the Diamond membership, as she indicated, and she was voted as the one to watch with an award in 2017. She is the mother of Alexa and Anthony, the wife to Mike, and the dog mom to Paisley, Chloe, and grandpuppy Jax. Sorry, my contacts are bothering me. Her favorite things to do include watching reruns of Friends, spiced chai lattes with almond milk, Mary Poppins, Disneyland, and of course, profanity. That one maybe should have been first. But without further ado, Elaine, I will give you some time updates in the chat, but we'll turn this over to you and teach us a few things.
Perfect. I'm really excited to be here today. Thank you for having me. I want to drop some knowledge bombs on you guys. Are you guys like cool with that? Can we, because I'm going to talk fast, so you're going to want something to write. I'm just telling you right now, because I'm going to drop some bombs and you're going to want to take notes. Okay. So fair warning. The question that I want to ask you is, how do you like being stood up? Nobody likes being stood up, right? Let me ask you this. Someone, you schedule a connect with someone and they don't show up, and it makes you feel pretty yucky, right? Shit happens, accidents happen. Sometimes it's unintentional, sometimes emergencies happen. But let me ask you this. Have you stood yourself up before? And what I mean by that is, do you say that you're going to do something and then kind of make up an excuse of why you can't do it or why you shouldn't do it, or you get distracted with shiny object syndrome and all the other things that pop up because, you know, working on the thing that you're working on, oh, but this is so much more fun over here, right? We get distracted by all kinds of things, and then we don't show up for ourselves. We don't show up for ourselves. And that is a real travesty. It really, truly is. And it is one of the things that is keeping entrepreneurs staying stuck right where you are. If you're trying to make it big, you're trying to level up, you're trying to get to the next level, how are you going to do that if you're not showing up for yourself? So as we're going through my talk today, we're going to talk about some traits. I'm going to give you guys some tips. I'm going to give you guys all kinds of things, okay? So how many of you struggle with the fear of not measuring up? Anyone feel like you can't measure up? I had earlier this year an epiphany. You ever get those? Like, I love epiphanies, like the aha moment. So a couple of years ago, I had been a photographer for 10 years. Okay. And I was trying to find someone else to give me permission to quit, because I was feeling some feelings about quitting and telling people that I didn't want to do it anymore. I was feeling they were going to judge me. Right. And so I went to a retreat and thought, if I go to this retreat, I'm going to get answers. I couldn't afford to go, but I did. I went because I knew I'm going to get answers here. That was my intention. I'm going to get permission to quit photography. And I didn't get it. Instead, he said, you should walk around the room and I want you to introduce yourself as someone who charges $50,000. And I don't know about you, but telling someone you charge $50,000 made me want to vomit. And then I couldn't quite figure out why. Why did that bother me so much? And then it hit me. What if I can't live up to that expectation of what $50,000 is worth? What if I charge someone $50,000 and they tell me that was a complete waste of money? You did not live up to my expectations of $50,000. So charging $50,000 for photos was like, I can't live up to that expectation. Even though people would say, oh my gosh, this is priceless. I would pay, nope, I can't deliver $50,000 worth of value. So I kept myself in this place where I could not get out of my own damn way. I couldn't, because I was stuck in this block around money. And what does money mean? And how do we spend money? How do we earn money? What am I worth? What are people willing to pay? Because if I was too expensive, I felt that as a personal rejection, that expensive was a bad thing. And then I flipped it and I said, what if expensive wasn't a bad thing? Cheap. I would rather be expensive than cheap. I don't know about you guys, right? I did not want to be associated with the word cheap. So the other thing I want to ask you, when we were talking about showing up for yourself, I started kind of like showing up differently for myself after I went to that retreat, right? Because I had all this stuff going on. And I want to ask you, what's the consequence of not showing up? What's the consequence of not measuring up? What's the consequence for not paying your bills? If there was no such thing as failure, how would you show up differently? Right? How would you show up differently if there was no such thing as failure? What if you welcomed failure into your life? What if you said, I don't believe in failure, I believe in learning opportunities, because that's me. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the James Dyson and the Dyson vacuum cleaner. Over 5,000 prototypes that man made in 3 years, millions of dollars, before the vacuum worked the way that he wanted it to. How many of us are willing to show up over 5,000 times and keep trying? How many of you are like, well, shit, didn't work the first time. I guess I'm done. I'm gonna try something else. We're gonna talk about that. So one of the ways that we can own our power is to show up, right? Is to show up. And that's actually trait number 1, showing up for ourselves. Okay. I call it discipline. Showing up even when you don't want to. Showing up even when you don't want to. The fact that you're here, how many of you are like, oh, I could totally skip it. I don't have to go to tonight's meeting. But then you do, and you come and you're like, oh my God, that was amazing. I'm so glad I showed up. It's easy to make excuses. It's easy to say, oh no, I'll just skip it. It's easy to let those excuses rule our lives. And I want to ask you, why did you start a business? How many of you here wanted freedom, time freedom, financial freedom? You were looking for freedom, right? You were looking for making your own money, right? Not relying on someone else, someone not telling you what to do. That was me. I don't want no one telling me what to do, right? I'm my own boss. I don't like people telling me what to do. I like doing it my way, right? And so one of the things that I noticed when I first decided to become a photographer, I quit my job And then I worked myself to death as a photographer. Why? Why did I do that to myself? Why did I put all of this onto myself? Like I had to work 24 hours a day as an entrepreneur, but I didn't do that as an employee. So why am I doing that to myself as an entrepreneur? I was a terrible, terrible boss to myself, right? Terrible boss to myself. And it wasn't until I went to Celebration in 2016 in Chicago. Nicole Lewis Keeber, Pennsylvania, go check her out. And she was teaching a class about how to love yourself and your business. And one of them, I learned that I was a terrible boss to myself. And I was like, this is not entrepreneurship. My family was not being put first. My business was coming first. I didn't know how to say no. I didn't know, I was afraid of letting people down. And I was a hot mess. Going nowhere, struggling. And one day I had to miss a soccer game. And I was like, I missed a soccer game for $100. That doesn't feel right. It was time to learn how to say no. And it was time to learn to shift my priorities. I could say no. I have availability at this time. Period. Why was I, right? I was letting my clients control my calendar. Don't do that. Don't do that. You're in control of your calendar. Okay. Make time for what's important. So I want you to write this quote down because this is going to be, a for you. Okay. Are you guys ready? People are motivated by the fear of loss more than the potential to gain. People are motivated by the fear of loss more than the potential to gain. What does that mean to you? Someone come off of mute and I want you to, how does that feel? What do you think that really means deep down inside? Kate.
To me, like 2 years ago when this pandemic started, I was in a dead-end job, doing something I didn't really find fulfilling, but I was afraid to quit because I didn't have a backup plan. So I was afraid of what I would lose. And then I ended up losing my job anyway because I got laid off. So
right.
That's what that means
right.
to me.
that
hits me.
Yeah, doesn't it? It was like instead, if we focused on what we're going to gain, why are we not motivated by that? And I'll tell you why. Change is hard. Change is scary. Change is uncomfortable. It's unfamiliar, uncharted territory. There's no certainty. There's no guarantee that it's going to work. There isn't. There's no guarantees. So I'm going to tell you guys quickly how I got out of my own damn way. And then I'm going to share a story with you guys. Okay. Number one, the pause. Anyone here, when you feel overwhelmed, you feel stressed, you take a pause, you take a breath? Game changer. I can't focus when I've got the weight of the world on my shoulders and like I can feel it on top of my chest, that anxiety of there's so much to do and I don't know where to start. Take a pause. My friend Fidel once said that overwhelm and stress is an invitation to get back into alignment. Right? Stress and overwhelm is an invitation to get back into alignment. Take a pause, take a breath. I typically will get up, walk out of the room and go do something else for a few minutes, just so that I can give my brain a moment to catch up. Then the second thing I do is I make a list. Okay. I'm a clarifier. I'm a list maker. That is in my DNA. I've got lists all over the place. I'm not even going to lie to you because I have to write it down. Otherwise I can't keep up with what's going on in my brain. And I do stuff. I'm so in the zone when I'm working for people and doing stuff for people that I'm like, oh, look at that. I already did it. I forgot that I even did it because I'm so in the zone. So I have to make a list to remind myself of the things. Okay. Alignment, number 3, is the thing that I do. It's my values. Anytime I get a new idea, new pop rock, I've learned that not all the ideas are for me, right? Not all the ideas are for me. But I need to make sure that the idea that I have is in alignment with my goals and my values. If it's not, it's a no. Nope, it's not for me. Number 4, foundation and impact. Like, I need to know that, like, every day my goal is to make a difference in one person's life. Just one, not a million, just one person a day. Whether that's being an encourager, whether that's helping someone come up with a good idea, whether that's just taking something off someone's plate, one person a day. That's it. That's my goal. And then number 5 are goals and planned accomplishments. Okay. I don't know where I'm going if I don't write down where I'm trying to go. Like, I'm just blind, right? I need a roadmap. Tell me where I'm going. Otherwise, I'm just a hamster on a wheel spinning and I have nowhere. I'm not going anywhere. Right. So I need to write things down. I need to say, this is where I'm trying to go. How am I going to get there? Write it down, break it down step by step. Boom. Okay. And number 6 is support. Having a talk it out buddy, majorly important for me. Just on Friday, I was like, oh crap, I'm not talking to my coach until Monday and I need to talk it out. I got something brewing and I'm like, ah. So I call my business bestie and I say, hey, do you have time to talk? I don't just assume, like, that's a boundary that we've set up. We ask permission before I dump on you. Do you have space to hold for me for this, you know? So I want to tell you guys a story. This is actually crazy because I was checking my Facebook memories today, and today is an anniversary of my son signing his letter of intent for the University of Jamestown in North Dakota. He earned a football scholarship to go play college football. Let me tell you what I learned from my son. This is like, when he was a sophomore, he came to his dad and said, I want to be the starting quarterback of the football team. He'd always played football from the time that he could, at age 5, like flag football every year. Was a quarterback, played a variety of positions, loved football. And he said, Dad, this is what I want. And my husband said, what are you willing to do? And he said, whatever it takes. And so we got him a personal trainer because, you know, he was scrawny, going through puberty, this really awkward, smelly boy phase, right? And he gave up hanging out with his friends every day to go to the gym 6 days a week and work out with his personal trainer. Even the summer, right? He was there every single day working towards this goal. And one of the things that I learned from my son when he finally got to be starting quarterback, won his first game, played the whole game through. It was amazing to be there to watch my kid, like, watch his face light up. I did it, right? It was amazing. And then the next goal became, I want to play college football. And then when that came, amazing. But I looked and I said, how did he do this? Right? How did he do this? And I noticed 3 things, 3 traits that I was like, these traits are what entrepreneurs also need to have, right? The first one is discipline, right? I talked about showing up even when you don't want to, right? Showing up to networking, showing up to a meeting, showing up to anything, showing up even when you don't want to, having that discipline to do it even when you don't want to, even when you don't feel like it, and your brain is trying to talk you out of it, you do it anyways. How many times could he have said, I don't want to today? And then what happens? Now he's taught himself that it's okay to break a promise to yourself. And then the next time it's a little easier. And the next time it's a little bit easier. And then before you know it, he's out of the habit completely. Right? So honor the things that you say you want to do. When you write down what those goals are, honor those goals. And say, even though I don't want to because I'm worried about what's going to happen, I'm just going to show up anyways. Number 2 is consistency. Consistency, okay? Practice. That's what I call practice. Do you think that Simone Biles woke up one day knowing how to do all those flips and jumps and twists and turns on the gymnastics floor? No. How many times did she fall down? More importantly, how many times did she get up? But she practiced. She didn't wake up magical like that. She practiced. And as entrepreneurs, we have to practice too. It's not always going to work out the first time. We're going to fall down a lot. We're going to try to launch a new program or a new course or a new something, and nobody's going to show up. What are you going to do? You're going to try again? Yes, you are. You're going to try again. You are going to try again. It's the consistency. You have to give people time to get to know you and to know that that's who you are and that's what you do. You have to disrupt the scroll. Like, it's hard to compete with social media and all the things going on out there, right? Be consistent. And number 3 is accountability. And I don't know why, but accountability seems to have earned a bad reputation, like it's a bad word. Accountability is not a bad word. Accountability is because I said I would. What does accountability look like? If you show up for yourself, what's the consequence of that? Good consequence. You showed up for yourself. Something good happens. What happens if you don't show up? What does accountability look like if you don't show up for yourself? What are the consequences of not showing up for yourself? You don't get to meet someone new, right? Your energy is stagnant and stale, right? Accountability is not necessarily a punishment. So we need to get that out of our brain, that we think that accountability is punishment, because it's not. It's a reaction to the good or the bad. That's all it is. So who's responsible? Are you responsible? Is someone else responsible? And honoring those boundaries, honoring what you said you were going to do. Because I said I would. Because you are both the problem and the solution. Just you, no one else. No one else is going to show up for you, right? Do you want to be successful? What does success look like to you? You're the only one who gets to decide that. Not me, not anyone else. And so sometimes what happens is we set a really big goal for ourselves and we're doing all the things, nobody shows up. And so we want to give up and we want to lower our expectations. And because nobody has to know about the goal, right? So we tell ourselves, oh, nobody's going to know. You're going to know. You are going to know that you didn't show up for yourself. You're going to know that you lowered your expectations, that you lowered your standard instead of rising to the occasion. So the next time that something doesn't work, the next time you set up an event and nobody shows up, what are you going to do? How are you going to do it differently? What are you going to do differently next time? If you want to get a different result, you have to be willing to do something different. Okay, so answer that. What are you going to do if nobody shows up? If it doesn't look the way that you wanted it to, if you don't meet the goal, if the prototype you build doesn't work, what are you going to do? Going to do it again? Are you going to give up? Because the choice is yours. So I'd love to open up the floor for any questions or thoughts or comments or anything like that. You're welcome to pick my brain. Super fun.
Elaine, how do you do the work that you do to help people do the discipline, consistency and accountability?
So with the consulting and the done for you services that I do, my whole goal is to help people stay in their zone of genius. Because here's the thing, if you're showing up and doing the thing you're good at, guess what you're going to do? You're in your zone of genius. Like there's no reason, you're going to be on fire. If your zone of genius is, I just want to talk to clients, I just want to help clients, then that's what I want you to do. If technology and automations and all of that crap is not in your zone of genius, stop doing it. Stop doing the things that do not bring you joy. It's going to suck the life right out of you. You're going to burn out and you're going to be not consistent, not accountable, and not disciplined. So being able to say, this is what I'm going to do. This is what your job is, right? We're going to divide up the duties and I'm going to go get all this stuff done so you don't have to worry about it. And then all of a sudden, it takes this huge weight off of people where they're trying to DIY their business. You've gotten so far, you've gotten to where you are right now. But in order to get to the next level, you got to do something different. One of my favorite quotes is, what got you here will not get you there. Right? You got to do something different. You got to learn something new. You got to bring in more support. I don't know about you, but I've never met anyone that made $1 million without a team. How are you going to make $1 million in your business by yourself? This is just not going to happen.
Elaine, for your March 9th event, if we're not able to attend it live, if we sign up that we want to go and can't attend, will we get a copy of the recording? Okay, thanks so much.
Yes, yes, yes. Always. Hi, Carol.
Hi, you just answered a lot of why I did what I did. I spent 40 years doing IT, and while I could make my own websites and I could do all the things I needed to do, but when I retired, I found out that, enough is enough. So I hired somebody to do my social media and create my website. And, it took a lot of the weight off, and because I was falling down and doing any social media because I just really didn't want to sit in front of a computer anymore.
Yeah. Right.
So you just make so much sense. And thankfully that's where I got it, because, I had been making jewelry for 20 years, but I just did it as gifts for my family and friends. And, I just found it was a new passion to make something pretty and make people smile and fix sentimental stuff. And it just makes everything so much easier for me. And I feel like I'm having my best life.
I'm so proud of you, because that is really hard to give up control and to delegate and say, I'm not really good at this. Even though I can do it, doesn't mean I should. I can do all the things in my business, but doesn't mean I should. I hire someone to do my social media marketing. Just because I can, doesn't mean I should. It's not the best use of my time. So I am so proud of you, Carol, because that is huge for a lot of people. It is huge.
And I felt like I was more into controlling and stuff like that. I mean, life is a journey. You have to keep, figuring things out that make you happy.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for sharing.
I had an experience last year where I enjoy doing lawn, my own lawn and things like that, but I realized I could hire somebody for $100 and it might take him sweat an hour, 2 hours to do it. As much as I love to do it, but in the same time I let him do that, I made over $1,000. And I was like, yeah. So I hired him to take care of my lawn and things like that. But there are a couple things that I won't let go of, like detailing my own car, because that's more meditation to me than it is anything else. And the pride before and the after is something that I love, and I feel good in my car because I drive almost everywhere and anywhere. But I will do that. But something else, like I'm right now, anybody know a housekeeper in Southern Colorado? I need one. But something like that, you're absolutely right. Don't do my own zone of genius and let somebody else do their zone of genius. And I knew that when I hired him, I was feeding a family of 5.
Right. Exactly.
Helping him build his business.
Right.
And you know, for me to do that
makes the whole world go round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Elaine, thank you so much. It was so much information, and I'm sure most of us didn't capture all of it, but hopefully we'll get the recording sent out to everybody so that everyone will have that, because there was a lot of great tidbits in there. And thank you also for sharing your class that you're doing in a couple of weeks. Before anybody else goes, I don't know that Dorothy got a picture.